This video is brought to you by our patrons. If you want to make sure we can create more content like this, consider supporting us on our Patreon. Thank you. Hi, and welcome to our final part of Chapter 8 of Capitalism, Socialism, and Democracy by Joseph A. Schumpeter. Let's get started. So monopoly in the true sense of the word means anyone is a monopolist who sells anything that is not in every respect, wrapping location and service included, exactly like what other people sell. But this is usually not what people are referring to when they call something a monopoly. The practical usefulness of this definition is quite limited because the occurrence of a monopoly in its true form, or its literal sense, is so rare. But due to the power of the term monopoly, it has evolved into a very useful political term, and is hence thrown around loosely with little regard to its true definition. Even in a more generous version of the definition of monopoly, we mean only of those single sellers whose markets are not open to the intrusion of would-be producers of the same commodity, and of actual producers of similar ones, or, speaking slightly more technically, only those single sellers who face a given demand schedule that is severely independent of their own action as well as of any reactions to their action by other concerns. Even with this more generous definition, the phenomena is still quite rare, especially in the long term. But in America, the term monopoly is still being used to tarnish anything that even closely resembles big business, even when in fact those industries may be highly competitive. Next, Schumpeter addresses the assumption that monopolies will provide less for higher prices than if there was a situation of perfect competition. Perhaps we should question whether monopolies are able to create quality in a way that smaller, more competitive firms aren't. And this would be because monopolies are able to achieve expansive spheres of human capital and able to enjoy disproportionately higher financial standing than smaller firms. These units not only arise in the process of creative destruction and function in a way entirely different from the static schema, but in many cases of decisive importance, they provide the necessary form for the achievement. They largely create what they exploit. Hence, the usual conclusion about their influence on long-run output would be invalid even if they were genuine monopolies in the technical sense of the term. In other words, innovation is the driver of the increase of long-term total output, and monopolies are the vehicle of that movement. Did the sentence make that any more clear? Innovation is what makes the increase in long-term total output happen, and monopolies make innovation happen, or they're the vehicle in which innovation drives. Beep, beep. So even if our real-life examples were monopolies in the true sense of the word, which they're not, we would still have a hard time making the case that they're bad for long-run total output, for the increase of long-run total output, because monopolies are the embodiment of innovation. Now, genuine monopolies or positions approximating monopolies are much more prevalent in the short run. As Schumpeter said sometime earlier, monopolies provide a cushion, but now he clarifies it's no cushion to sleep on. And the existence of such monopolies are a powerful tool or a powerful incentive for entrepreneurs to try to become successful and reap all the benefits that monopolies have to offer. Among other things, the most important one to Schumpeter being the opportunity to begin long-term planning. And to close the chapter, we will loop around and focus once again on this concept of perfect competition. As time goes on, evidence is only mounting that perfect competition is not, in fact, the ideal system, the ideal state of things that we should be striving for, especially the propositions that a perfectly competitive system is ideally economical of resources and allocates them in a way that is optimal with respect to a given distribution of income. Propositions, by the way, which are very relevant to total output. So as we have seen throughout the chapter, perfect competition is not only impossible, but not even something we should be striving for. And therefore, government regulatory goals should not be solely to impose or try to force perfect competition in all situations. We should really move away from that, according to Schumpeter. And that is the end of chapter 8. Please hit a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and maybe consider joining our Patreon. We would appreciate it so much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week. Bye-bye.